Hey Nick, do you have any new videos about hair loss that I can watch today? Actually, yes, this is one right here. You're watching it now. We're going to talk about hair loss. We are going to talk about President Donald Trump. We are, because again, he's made headlines with his hair. And again, it relates back to hair loss. So we recently found out, yes, he is taking a drug in order to prevent further hair loss. That's not what this video is about. This is, and I'm looking at an article on the Telegraph called "What is Scalp Reduction?" This is apparently what Donald Trump actually uses, and we've learned this officially now that there's this one video where he's getting, I guess, on a plane, right? And the wind blows, and like this whole part of his hair just separates from the back. I mean, it does kind of make you think of Darth Vader without his mask, like if the back of his head is like you're peeling an orange and you just see bald back like here. It's so strange that a man who has hair on top of his head has just really weird, right? Well, now that has gone viral, experts have revealed that that's what's called scalp reduction. And I'm looking at this article right now, but basically it was an extreme way to deal with hair loss in the 80s, back when I guess there wasn't much better. But basically his hair is set up in a way that, and here it is, it's called the Fleming-Meyer flap, where a piece of the scalp is found with hair on it, and then it's cut on three sides to create a said flap. This sliver of skin is then twisted, pulled, and forced into a new position on the hairline where the faulty follicles are. So that's kind of an overview of this, but it goes on to talk about, there's persisting pain, there can be permanent nerve damage. Like, it's a very extreme thing. Oh, there it is, finasteride, that's what it says. I guess that he's been taking. But it talks about what an extreme procedure this is. And that also, and I know Robert had said in the comments before that Donald Trump, it's known that one of his workers in his office was starting to go bald, and I guess he handed him some Rogaine or whatever and said, you better take care of that. Like, it's very important to Donald Trump's identity that he appears to have a full head of hair. So in reality, he's a man with a very unnatural version of, it's not male pattern baldness, because he's got hair in the right places to where as long as it's combed the right way and stays as that nest, it's okay. But when he got on the plane, it revealed that there's a flap there. So it takes a lot of hairspray to hold it all in place. He has to have that certain hairstyle to keep things together. Now granted, if I went into the wind right now, it'd go, it'd shoot up and you'd see my exact hairline, as is the case with a lot of guys, right? But this is a whole different story. So officially, I guess now we all know the procedure that he went through. It's not so much a hair transplant, it's really more extreme than that, because and this is like something you'd see on one of the Saw movies, right? Like, I'm almost thinking for the next Saw movie, they'll have a guy who like was obsessed in his life, and all he ever cared about was just trying to save his hair. So then, he has to do his own what's it called? Scalp reduction, otherwise he dies within, an hour, whatever. Like that seems very brutal. But imagine this, it matters and has mattered for decades so much to Donald Trump's identity that he has this image of this perfect head of hair that he's willing to go through that extreme. I'm Nick Shell, and I'm not willing to go through that extreme. I don't care. I'm just, how do I even still have this much hair? I mean, this is the weirdest thing to me. If you were me, and you were a teenager who told yourself, yep, look at all the men in my family, they start noticeably balding when they're in their mid-30s. That's how it is. And then you get to your mid-30s and like, well, actually, it's really not that bad. That's who I was. That's how I thought. But I was ready for it. And then when it came, I'm like, oh, what, really? But meanwhile, there's guys like Donald Trump who will go through extremes to save their hair because it's that much an important part of their identity. So yes, now we know officially. We have always wondered, is he wearing a toupee? No. Basically, they like filleted his scalp and just kind of did it. And now we know. Truth.